Part 15, Luke 12, verse 17 is where we're going to start. And right now, I just want to tell you that he's talking about, he's telling them a parable. He was very productive. He's thinking to himself, what will I do? I have no place to store my produce. So it's going to go on, and he's going to build larger ones. But the object is not he said, he thought, I will tear down my barns and build larger ones. But what he don't need to have them torn down, he would just build larger ones. Then I can store all my produce. And what will say to my, and what can then I can say to my soul? This is that merchant thinking, I have much produce stored up for many years. Now I can eat and drink and be happy without having any more work, kind of like a good retirement. But YV said to him, he would not call him a fool. Okay, this is funny to have someone say that our Creator would call him a fool. Tonight your soul will be not required but removed from your body. Your soul is what keeps your body alive. It's not proven yet, but it will be. Now who will own what you have stored? So that was Adam. So who lays up earthly goods, not lays up treasures, but earthly goods. I wanted to say materials, but the story is pretty much when I say earthly goods, is not richer with YV. For those reasons I say, do not be anxious for goods in your life on earth. What you'll eat, nor your body, this here is right here. Do not be anxious for goods in your life. Okay, that sums up that, so I didn't want to double text. Okay, this is, yeah, if you read it and take a look at it, you'll see that this is all covered by this sentence, the last sentence that I told you. And don't need to talk about Solomon, all his glory he had for so many things, because he was very, very wealthy king on earth for that time, for such a small kingdom too. Yeah, all this is not needed. This is just nothing. Nothing the value of teaching your way of life to enter into heaven. Our Father knows your needs. Seek my kingdom. There, see, Jesus is saying, seek my kingdom, which means you have to obey our Creator. These things will be added to your life. For my kingdom, sell your extra, not your possessions, but your extra. You don't need to keep gathering product or material wealth. Once you're, this is more or less to sell your extra, because you know what you need, but you're to help other people. And it's not to the charity, but it's to the needy. Give it to the needy, not to have them pay for it. You're helping them out by giving it to them. Example, since I knew our Creator existed, when I entered the workforce on a real job where it had money, I noticed that I could buy a house, I could have a car, and I still had extra money left around. So what I did was decided to not put it in the bank, but I took that money and I was helping people. And every paycheck, I lived paycheck to paycheck by giving it away. And uh, this is what these words here, or our Father knows your needs, and these things will be added to your life. That's my way of life. That's what I did, paycheck to paycheck, and gave it away. Now, yes, I'm a single, so that is uh, not something everyone can do. But if you have extra, say you don't need to give away all your money that you got in the bank because you're going to help your children out as well. So there is a value of why you need to have money in the bank and not do as I did. But the object is I'm a living example of going from week to week. Now, I was 22 when I finally got into a decent job, and I'm 65 now, and I still live paycheck to paycheck. But I know that they're pretty well secure now. But the object is it's a different way of life when you understand that when you start giving to the needy. And it's not just going to happen exactly as soon as you start doing this. It's not a one time I can give and then kind of look to see if our Creator is actually witnessing you do this. This becomes part of your life. Um, I knew a guy at work, got to mention his name, Roger. This guy, I mean, you talk about one who, if I could point to one person that I know is going to heaven, it would be him. This guy uh, was very trustful of our Creator, and he dedicated his life. Uh, he was raised in one of the like a gathering where they established it as their gathering place. Um, uh, and it's not really of any religion that I know. When I talk to him, he just says, we believe the Bible. So the thing here but he was brought up in this, and he taught the Bible study to the youth. Then he became one higher up in the what I would call a church, for lack of word, their gathering place. And then when I knew him, he was actually the one who hired and fired the priest, took care of all the money, and figured out what's needed to keep this place going and what the people needed. I spent a few weeks with him when we had some work that was off. I asked him if I could help him because, do work. They were telling us to go work in the community. So I went to work with him and spent time with him. And this guy, I mean, every day he worked like he worked hard, but he didn't play hard. He worked hard to help people afterwards. He was running people around, doing so many things for people in the church, and I mean, till like 11 o'clock at night, and then waking up the next morning and back to work. For all his life, he was doing that. I think I worked with him for 5 weeks, 3 or 5 weeks. And man, I could not believe how hard. He didn't think it was work. He just did it. He helped so many people. It boggled my mind there was somebody like him. I never met anyone like him, and I'll never forget the guy. Um, make yourself person. Well, yeah, that's not needed here. Um, okay. And out of all these, I'm saving one verse here, and this is it right here. Waiting for the master. You are to be like servants waiting for the master's return, not from a wedding feast, and they may open suddenly because there is, um, Jesus is going to tell a story about that, or a proverb, but um, that's not needed here. This is also being tried to tied to another. proverb that Jesus told, but they only stick it in by words and words. You're supposed to know those, so they're just reading out of place. All this is going to be, like, most of this is going to be in a better proverb, okay? So, whether he comes a second or even third watch, find the blessed, those slaves. You got to understand that the Israelis did not have slaves, okay? Not the true believer, those that believed our Creator's words. There could have been Jews that don't believe that they're Hebrew. That's why I divide Hebrews as Israelis who believe in our Creator and Jesus. He sent Jesus, and those that reject um, everything that he said that would be known as today as coming from our Creator who created everything. But they don't have slaves. Our Creator made a year of Jubilee or a year of release. If you were to borrow something back then, say some seeds to plant a crop, and your crop failed and you couldn't pay back the guy, and you did this maybe the second year before the guy says, hey, you've run up a debt that I can't take this no more. um, I need to send you to work prison, and you go to work for somebody else. And these work prisons were that if other people needed help, they would be able to go to this area and grab these people and come and work in their field to help them get forward. But what they did was, instead of paying them the wage, besides meals and the place to stay, that the money would go to the one that he is indebted to. But at the end of the 7 years of this time period, our Creator said, that's enough of work prison. They can go back and they can be released, and all debt is forgiven. So they did not have slaves, okay? There were no other people on that they capture or would hold. That was against our Creator's way for them. So this word slaves that's in the text, it just does not exist. They never existed. Um, yeah, these are just choppy uh, words from different proverbs added into Luke, just to try to say that how close and related to the other text when you read it. But okay, when it says at the hour I am not, they do not expect, this is Jesus talking about him coming at Judgment Day. So here we don't have the words Judgment Day, but this text has to go with Judges Day, not the hour that they did not expect. Like I said, some of these verses are just being thrown out there from other places in the text. So, but the object here is Peter's pretty much this parable for us or anyone. Those don't need to be added. It's pretty simple. Now, like I said, I'm changing all word faithful to trusted, because it's a trusted servant whom their master, not his master, but their master, charge other servants, give them their, not rations, but meals at their appropriate time, at their proper time. In other words, he left his trusted service to do all the things that he's supposed to do without uh, his master or his Lord, and the word master might be changed to Lord. But maybe since this is earthly involvement, I don't want to use the second word Lord. I know like Abraham is a great Lord because he had many people working for him. I would say that to get rid of the word Lord there and have it only meaning the title for our Creator and Jesus as our King and Lord, or for the King on earth to be a King and Lord, and everyone else to be a master of their property. So they wouldn't be king of their property, and they don't. It could be Lord, but the object is master. Would have show a definition of break, keep it with in high esteem. The word Lord when he returns, that comes when he returns, and puts him in charge. So that was pretty easy. Not slave, steward. Return. Let's see the word slaves here again. Serves both men and women. Just word servants covers that. Or eats or drinks to get drunk. Yeah, slave. Master returns. Doesn't need to. Um, on a day not expected when he does not. All the adjectives that don't need those words. An hour he does not know will cut him to pieces. I don't think so. Here Jesus is telling him that because these proverbs are about Jesus, okay, when you figure them all out, and I will be teaching, or I will be telling you what I've been given to know about each of these proverbs, but he would not cut them into pieces. He will assign them to places with other unbelievers. See, this is Jesus saying that what he's going to do. But the object there is let's move on to, well, I thought it was going faster than that. Time isn't going that fast. So if it's already told us what's going to happen, so none of this needs to be said. This is all just text that what's already been said has been said. So, and it has to tie with what other believers, and it has to tie with the words I came to cast fire upon or on earth. That means Jesus is the one that uh, those that um, go believe our Creator exists first, then Jesus was sent by our Creator, and they speak about Jesus, our Creator. It causes all kinds of conflict with others' ways of life around the earth here. So Jesus is kind of casting this fire to um, kind of like to purify, reason it out. That when you reason out our Creator's everlasting promises versus all other religions, those religions become gods. Here, this text tells you why you enter into heaven, why creation is, who created. So it's not a religion at all when we have the truth. But when to peace, to grant peace or division, this is the fire I'm talking about. I have baptism undergo. This is not true. And this is not true. This just unneeded extra words. Just here, our Creator already talked, or Jesus already talked about how uh, if a family is divided against itself, it can't stand. So there can't be a family. So nor a kingdom, or like Satan's people or Satan's demons would be not as one group. But the object here is that's those words too are all related to that. That can be related to what's better already written. When you see dark clouds coming, not rise. Because they're in a hilly country, there is a different perspective of how you see things coming in the sky. Here we have a state, I think it's called Kansas, that it is so flat that and barren. I mean, there's nothing. You look all around, even though you can see for like 17 miles in every direction, you'll see a clump of something way down the end of the road, and you can't. It's weird that you actually drive and drive and drive, and this little thing is getting a little bit bigger, bigger, bigger. And then when you pass it, it's kind of like it was only uh, maybe a couple hundred yards wide, but you could see it so far away that that's amazing. And when you see it, the sky coming in this way is a lot different than when you can be on a hill or even on a mountain where you can see more land, this difference. So it's kind of like clouds rising, meaning they're coming up from the surface. I didn't want to have that argued out, so I'm just going to use the word as dark clouds coming because um, today people don't really watch the sky as much as people did. They don't live outside as much as they did before. So, but they wouldn't say it's rising anyway, but I can understand the word rising being used at that time. Um, for example, those that were overlooking the Mediterranean because in Israel it's hill country, and it is like 2,000 feet above sea level, but there's a mountain over here, Mount Carmel, which is like 10,000 feet. So that's the mountain. These are hill country. But even up here, they could overlook and see the Mediterranean. So that type of rising and how long it's taken and how long it's coming before you see it. I understand the word rising here, but I don't want it to be that way. I'm just, it's just coming. Um, and you say rain is coming. Okay. And as the south wind is blowing, you say it will be hot today. Um, why do you not analyze the present time? This is Jesus. I can't have Jesus saying this because this is like divining from this of like the appearance of the earth and sky. Why didn't I analyze this present time? Jesus does uh, not teach divination or astrology or fortune telling. Okay, so those words are out. Here, walking appear before magistrate. I'm going to use the word judge. A magistrate, today we understand them as one of lesser authority, um, that you can still, he can still give a judgment call, but it's not like as severe as like a judge. But the object is um, you and your opponent don't go before a magistrate, I don't believe. You do that one-on-one. So this has to be a judge, or I'd rather have it the word judge. Settle them that they may not drag or accuse you before the judge. Then the judge turns you over to his officer, not constable. That's a English word that they put in when they had transferred it into English, but his officer. And this is why I said the judges had officers that could arrest you to be thrown into a work prison, not into a prison forever. They were still using the laws by our Creator to throw you into a work prison. The Romans had prisons, okay? So, see, you will not get out of there until you've paid the very last cent. Well, how are you going to make money when you're in prison? Okay, that's the thing. That's why I got it as work prison, not just work prison. Um, and this is why, because pretty much to settle with him, meaning the account or the monies that you owe him or things that you owe him. You could have borrowed one of his animals and one of there died where you had to compensate him for it. Those type of things. But if you were just to be thrown into prison, you couldn't get out. You couldn't pay it off. You'd never be able to get out. So again, they'll have no slaves, no prisoners really. It's a work prison. And then every 7 years, everyone is released. Okay, this here is about mingling blood and stuff like that. Galileans whose blood Pilate had mingled with their sacrifices. Um, we don't need any of that stuck in the text here. This is just, I don't think it would be true anyway. I don't think the Romans did that type of thing. They didn't offer to their gods. Um, um, can't say that isn't. I would just say they wouldn't kill people and mingle it with their blood and then offer it to their god. It just makes no sense to have this text put in at all. So it's not teaching anything. It's not telling us how to enter into heaven. So it's going to, I'm getting rid of it, plain and simple. And it's supposed to be like Jesus answering them. Well, I don't think Jesus would even answer them on these questions. So that is out. This will just, if you repent, you all likewise perish. Oh, no, your soul cannot die. And there's this big tree that had no plant in the vineyard. Came like fruit, did not find any of it. This is a story, but it doesn't have anything talking about like another parable where Jesus is relating the parable to enter into his kingdom. This is just something that would not be said, not necessary to be in the text at all. Woman who had 18 years had a sickness caused, had a demon, not a spirit, but a demon. We don't need the length of the time, because what it is it's a sickness caused by a demon, and she was bending her over double, bending her over. You've seen men and women, uh, they start in their youth that they're putting their head forward and they're walking around, and as they go every year in life, that just keeps going that way, and then they have a hard time standing straight up later. Um, and here, when Jesus saw her, he called her over and said, "Woman, I will free you from your bending." Not this is a sickness; it's a bending. So need to make sure that that's what happened there. Um, and it's not real. It's not crippling. It's not. It's just people not understanding to remind themselves to keep their shoulders square, keep their heads straight. I noticed that to myself that I do so much of the reading here that my head stops and I've tilted and reading. And then when I go in and I look in the mirror, it looks like my glasses are crooked and I have to straighten, and my neck and the side will get sore from me trying to make sure it goes back. But it's just that we do these things and we really don't notice them happening to us. So she was straight again, and then she praised why we can't glorify our Creator. You can't do that. The attendant is upset because she was on a holiday. Um, any announced to our people there are 6 days to work should be done and come to be healed on them, not the holy day. There is no more Sabbath. If you noticed in the book, I made it all holy days because that's what our Creator called them. It's not a Sunday. It's a holiday. Holy day. I put livestock instead of ox because it leads to ox or donkey, so I put livestock here. And doesn't need to say she's a daughter from Abraham. All Israelis knew that they become descendants through Abraham. Well, he's asking him the question about Satan has bound her up or has caused this. Well, I don't, I'm not sure how Satan applied this. A person's not understanding that they're leaning over all the time. It's not a sickness. First, he talks about leading the livestock to water. Isn't that work? And I think this is now out because now it needs to see how it looks to be cleaned up. Okay. Now I take this word because he's asking the question, should this woman not be healed on a Sunday? Taking it from here, back up, back up from there and move it here just to say I moved a word from here to here. Although it's hard to see when it's all the way here, you need to see it when it's cleaned up. But should this woman not be? Well, yeah, let's just do this here. Just add it. And then that way in the crowd, the entire crowd rejoiced. This is an extra word, but this would also be if it's the entire crowd rejoiced. Here again, this would be something that happens early in his uh, walk in the favorable year of the Lord. So this one could be done without the disciples. So let me make sure I note that. So when I put the words in order, maybe that will go into um, Jesus as in his earlier days before he got or added his disciples, because we know he was. Yes, I guess I don't need to over explain things time to time here. Slowing me down. Mm, how will I compare it? Yeah, it's a mustard seed planted in your garden that grows and becomes a tree for the birds to nest in. Who hid 3 peck nails on meal? No, this is not. Um, this is out. Now you know that told you about the sex practice with the female goddess, and then I told you that once a year that you have this so-called sex with a female goddess, and then a couple hours later a bubble goes around in your body, and then late I think it's about an hour before sunset that male's penis starts retracting inside his body. So these are the woman hid 3 peck meals that they didn't know about until you have actually had that experience, okay? Until it all leavened, okay? So, like I said, there's words here that when I'm getting rid of them, they are a purpose why I'm getting rid of them. So just don't go around think that I'm stupid here and just getting rid of anything that I don't like. I just don't want to go through here and try to explain things every time that I run into them here. I just thought that this was a unique verse of only those that would have this practice would know what this is talking about. So when we remove it, Jesus isn't saying stupid things. Walk from one place to another. Teaching was going to Jerusalem. Okay, now he's headed towards Jerusalem. Will just a few be not saved but forgiven? So yes, we asked and saved to forgiven is because we're talking about entering into heaven. Uh, you need to understand why the tent for meeting was set up and why it was so important. It was to enforce them to understand that if you sin, not obey our Creator's 12 commandments, you aren't getting into heaven. Okay, that was just the way it was. In fact, if you didn't, you were kicked out of the kingdom, out of the promised land, from all the tribes, you were kicked out. So this was a way of our Creator making sure that the people were bringing up and saying people are starting to speak about other gods, get rid of them. They're against our way of life. Our Creator told them to stone them, to kill them. So this is our Creator's teaching and telling them what to do, all based on this forgiveness to enter into heaven later. I mean, the promise builds up, but it's to be forgiven that you didn't obey the 12 commandments, and they are the sins because you needed a sin offering. So if you want to know what there are only 12 sins, and that's because our Creator defines it as a sin offering. So, and they must be forgiven, okay? So it can't be saved, but forgiven. Okay, this is going to be the last one here that I do here. I'm just looking at this one real quick to make sure that, yeah, you get the idea here. This is rest in my kingdom from YHVH. Now you will recline in the kingdom, recline at a table in my kingdom. There is no table there. Um, strive to enter the normal way. You need to. I will tell you to seek to enter, and you will not be able to. No. Jesus was just told us a proverb that you're supposed to answer your friend who comes and knocks on the door. No, you will not ever say those words. I don't think anybody can ever say those words. And Jesus talking in third person, he will say, I will tell you to depart from me, you evildoers. Um, This is more or less Judgment Day, so it wouldn't be. He's always Jesus and our Creator always waiting for people to stop taking the lower choice of their thoughts. Stop leads to evil and self-inflicting themselves with more problems. All they have to do is start taking the lesser of the lesser of the two thoughts, because one will be always lower than the other. There will be weeping and gnashing of teeth when you will not do any of this. No, that is not true. Jesus wouldn't speak. It's just all this stuff has been better defined, better said, and more truthfully said in other texts. And then I will continue here next one.